just having a little fun with the Google music making, the audiovisual Google music making that they have online. So I just had a little fun with it. All right, guys. Luke chapter 9. Let me go from verse 25 and go all the way down to verse 27. It says, "For what advantage does a man have if he gains the whole world and loses himself, or is cast away? Whoever shall be ashamed of me," that's Jesus he's talking about, "and of my words, of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he shall come in his own glory, and in his Father's, and in the holy angels. But I tell you a truth, there are some standing here which shall not taste death till they see the kingdom of God." And in fact, he was talking to his disciples at the time. They did get to see the kingdom of God. Jesus transfigured on a mountain. They saw the glory of God and all of that. Now, I wanted to share this stuff with you guys because, again, sacrifice is a key concept that is shown in movies quite a lot. In Wonder Woman, we saw Steve Trevor willing to die for what he believed in. We saw that Clark Kent's father, I forgot what his name is, he was willing to die for what he believed in. And these concepts you see over and over again: sacrifice. And as human beings, you must be willing to sacrifice for what you believe in. It really is all about what you believe in. And a person's beliefs is so strong that you have people, they get very vicious with one another because of belief systems, right? But it's not necessary to be vicious with one another. We can exist in a world where I believe one thing and you believe another thing. I still live according to my beliefs, but I don't harm you with what you believe. And that's what democracy, at least that's what the democracy was about. Now, some people say, they're Republicans usually, they say, oh, America is not a democracy, it's a republic. To these people, I would suggest to them that they understand that a republic, though it is representation, we elect who we want to represent us. And then we delegate some responsibility to them to go ahead and carry out our affairs based on their mandate, based on their I forgot what the word is that they put out. You know, the stuff where they say what they intend to do. Somebody help me out with that, because sometimes I just blank out just like that. So basically, based on their agenda or what they plan to do, what their campaign was centered around, what their whole organization has, it's like a written set of stuff that they intend to do. I forgot what the name of that is. Because of that, that's what you're elected on, basically. Okay, and it's a democracy. It's a democratic means. Each state or constituency or designation, place, borough, whatever it's called, municipality, they are the people who elect who they want to represent them. So to say that a republic is not a democracy is to be silly. Okay, it is a democracy. It's a kind of democracy. There may be another way, but usually most democratic governments govern by republic means. Okay, republic just simply means representation. Okay, so you have a minister, or you have a senator, or you have a congressman, or you have a governor that represents you in a higher council, and they come with your wishes to that given governing body, whether it's Senate or Congress or some other, as we say, public square. Okay, now I was listening to an event on CNN, and you guys probably wondered, what does that have to do with Wonder Woman? Don't worry, I'll get to it. But when you go into public squares, there was a guy who was saying that, you know, because of the internet and people coming together and people who only agree they're in this particular square, there's no public square. That is not true at all. If that were true, then the democratic elections to elect a government official of some kind wouldn't work out. People wouldn't just vote. There would be not involved in the process. But obviously there is a public square where everyone shares. I think what a lot of people are not understanding is when you have a group of people being fed false information that's not based on facts, you see, we must, in every single circumstance, if there's people with a disagreement, they go to a judge who's the arbitrator. He's supposed to be neutral. The arbitrator is looking at the facts of the situation to be able to bear judgment. Judgment is done, if you look at Lady Liberty, the scales must be balanced. And the only way they're balanced is by facts. So the problem with a lot of what is happening in the public square right now, and there is a public square, okay, whether it's social media or whether you think it's, cable and internet, whatever, there is a public square, obviously. Now, the question is not, is there a public square? There is a public square, and everybody can have a voice now, and they can have it unedited, unfiltered, which is to a certain degree a good thing because we get to see what's in people's minds and their hearts, right? But more importantly is, are people willing to arbitrate, or are they willing to come to some sort of settlement of their disputes using facts and a neutral person to judge the event? That, I think, is what is happening in society right now, especially in the United States of America with the present regime. They're trying to say that they're above the law, and they have this support group who will support them no matter what they do. No matter how atrocious it is, they're going to try to find ways, even if it's failing, to try and spin it and make everyone feel that they're in the right lot. So they're saying that wrongs are now right, and the right people are wrong. And they're doing alt facts and alt information, which is just ludicrous and just ridiculous, okay? And I say this not to say that I think that some of the people supporting them, or all the people supporting them, are like that. But I do believe a large chunk of the people supporting them have an agenda, just like the people who are in power right now. And they are not going to let anything stop them from their agenda, which is not a good one, okay? This is like a Sith Lord taking over. It really is. So, whether people want to make excuses, they want to flounder in the wind, they want to say don't push back, it really doesn't matter, because there will be a pushback. And already we see globally there's a pushback on this from other governments in the world who are definitely intolerable of that. I do agree with Dave the Screen Junkie that there's a little too much shall I say, trying to be politically correct as well. But the pushback on that has been rejected by people, where people are saying, yeah, you don't want to be politically correct. That's one thing. But it's another thing when you're criminally wrong and you're trying to basically lord it over people and dictate terms and be a dictator and destroy the democracy. So there's a pushback. There was a pushback on that, where people were saying we need our civil liberties and people should be able to express themselves a certain way, and not everything is racist, and not everything is sexist, and not everything is dictatorial or autocratic. I get that. But then there's the other element where you're looking at blatant crimes. Not only crimes against humanity, but also blatant crimes and abuse of power, and you're not saying anything? Are you stupid? So, I mean, you have to look at the thing in its full context, and you must pay attention to what's going on. And obviously, what's going on is extremely disturbing, okay? So, for people to agree or to come together on these ridiculous things that are happening and try and rationalize, I'm a learned person, okay? And there are certain things that I just don't tolerate. I don't. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody needs to be like me, you know what I'm saying, and be intolerant of certain people. But there's a line of which you cross where murder is murder, you know what I mean? If somebody murders someone blatantly in front of everybody and says, I can get away with that, do you just stand up and just, yeah, that's good, let's applaud that. Yay! Let's applaud the murderer! Guy to murder someone else. No, you don't do that. That's just outrageous, okay? And so, at the end of the day, there are some outrageous things that are happening right now in the world scene, really outrageous stuff. And yes, some people blow things out of proportion, but there's certain things that are not being blown out of proportion. If anything, people are actually under blowing the whistle on certain things. And it's all good. It's all well and good. Life has its way of balancing out things. But what I'm saying is, you can't be saying in the public square, because we're in the public square right now. I'm on the internet. I'm in the public square, right? You can't be saying in the public square, no, this is not happening, and this is, no, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, and all the evidence is supporting that you did it, and everybody's just supposed to agree with you and kumbaya you. You know, oh yeah, right, just go ahead and do what you need to do. And anybody opposes you, nobody should oppose our great leader. No, that's bullshit. Okay, that's the same thing that happened with Saddam Hussein. Okay, I'm not saying that the United States of America was right to go invade Iraq and just attack them and say they have weapons of mass destruction, even though they were a threat to the world. I'm not saying that was right, and then link them to 9/11, which there was no link. Okay, I'm not saying that they're right to have murdered Colonel Gaddafi, even though he's got a lot of blood on his hands. He's done a lot of evil things. You know, he was working with the world organizations in the United States of America as well. Okay, I'm not saying they're right to do that, but what I'm saying is this: you can't say that they're wrong to do those things, but they're right. Okay, they're right to be doing what they're doing now, locally, where you're tearing down some social laws, and you're tearing down social infrastructure, and you're isolating people, and you're targeting citizens who have done nothing. And the people who really are supposed to be the people who cause trouble, they're getting away with some things. And some of them, you're using this guise to isolate people and to basically rape other people. Okay? I'm not with that. I'm not with that. I understand social liberties in the world are getting less and less. I understand the world is not a private place anymore, which is why I am even doing these videos, because it doesn't really matter what I do. If someone wants to monitor me, it's very easy to do now. Okay? This is the kind of world we live in. What I'm saying is this. I am saying that at the end of the day, we can use mass media, and we can get ideas all around the world. Why not use that mass media to bring forth things which are worthy, which are qualities that people should desire? And that's what comes back to now the video Wonder Woman. The movie Wonder Woman stands and shows the world. It doesn't have to argue and dispute and debate with people. It shows the world a possibility where sexism, even in a sexist world, sexism can be crushed simply by watching at this movie. This movie, if Wonder Woman is played in Arab countries, if Wonder Woman is played in chauvinistic countries like the United States of America, unfortunately, you guys are labeled like that now because of your leader. Okay, it's sad, but I gotta say it. You know, this is the political climate we're in. A chauvinist is right now, a sexist and a chauvinist is basically the guy running the country. And no matter how people try to spin it to appease this guy because he can throw a tantrum and hurt you, make you lose your job, or victimize you, listen, the point of the matter is the guy's a chauvinist. The guy is a autocratic ruler. He's like Adolf Hitler. Whether you like it or not, whether you don't like me saying that, you may not like me saying that, but that's what the guy is. And while I have freedom of speech to say that, I'm going to say it loud and clear so everybody can hear me. Okay? And George Bush was in power, you got this Gestapo thing where nobody was supposed to say anything bad about him. And the Republicans in the United States of America, not all of them, but again, they're backing this dude for political points. And also, again, no one dare say anything about this guy. When Barack Obama was there, people said all kinds of crazy things about him. Well, Bill Clinton, he was just impeached, but most people loved him, all right? But the point is, why is it no one must say anything bad about these guys? I mean, Ronald Reagan I loved Ronald Reagan, okay? He probably the only Republican president so far I actually liked. I didn't like George Bush Sr. I didn't like George Bush Jr. And this guy, God, who's going to like him? Okay? Nobody likes, I don't know. I don't like him. I don't like him. And so far, all his policies have been isolationist, nationalistic. And this dude, if it's Russia, he kisses their butt. If it's anybody else, he just railroads the people. Okay? All right? And bashes people. So this dude is the worst president of the United States I've ever experienced in my days of being alive. And I've been around for 42 years, okay? So this guy reminds me of Adolf Hitler. Every time I see him, he reminds me of Adolf Hitler, okay? That's all I get. I only get Hitler. I mean, the guy, there's nothing. I'm trying to think of something positive to say about him. He's determined. He doesn't take no for an answer, you know. But this guy is just, he's hell, okay? He's a terror, man. And then I don't like Vladimir Putin. I'll be honest with you. When I say I don't like, I don't mean I hate the dude or anything. I just mean as a president, what is this dude doing as president? What is Putin doing as president of Russia? All right? What is he doing as president of Russia? Somebody help me understand this, okay? Dude be killing people left, right, and center. This is the same thing. You can't talk about the president. Well, so obviously the media is just having a field day with Putin and his son-in-law. You know what I'm saying? This American president. It's just these two guys. What the heck are they doing here? And you know what's amazing? When you look at commerce is booming. Usually this is a situation where commerce should not be booming, but commerce is booming, which tells me if the commerce is booming, think about what I'm saying. Is this guy for the common person? Is he for you? Wall Street's having a blast. The stock exchange are doing exceptionally well. How come businesses and the business community is doing even better while the economy is still doing poorly? And mind you, the average guy, I'm going to ask you, anything has changed where you live? Are your living conditions better? Are you getting better pay? Are you getting tax breaks? Oh, it's because of the gridlock in Congress. And in Congress is governed. It's dominated by Republicans. So is the Senate. So don't tell me anything about gridlock. Okay? They are dragging their feet on issues that pertain to you. You benefit zero. Zilch. And guess what? When you're in the Gestapo, Stalin-like, Hitler-like world where you're brainwashed to think things are better, you're going to be the pawn going to war, different places, and getting killed. You're going to be the idiot that embraced an ideology which was wrong. You see, that's the thing with people, man. But anyway, I'm done with that. So Wonder Woman. Let's talk about Wonder Woman. Because, you know, people like me, we just observe things. But sometimes we need to talk about it and put it on the global scale. I don't have a problem. When I was in the United States of America, I didn't talk much. I looked at all the bullshit that was happening, and I didn't say much when I was in the United States, when I was studying. But I observed everything. Okay? I observed the Gestapo way, how people conducted themselves. I watched it how people monitor people in the country. Okay, I'm not saying it doesn't happen in my home country. Obviously it does. But what I'm saying is that I have lived in a world where people of different races, and my world was in my country. There is racism, don't get it twisted, but people are much more, I don't know why, they're more tolerant of each other. I can walk with a Muslim guy, with a Hindu guy, with an atheist guy. I can have a conversation with each one of them in my country. And nobody is going to cut my head off for my beliefs or their beliefs. We also are a republic, a twin island republic, and we are a democracy. And for all our differences, there's not a moment when somebody, my neighbor, I don't care what race they are, will not help me out in my hour of need. People still have a degree of decency and caring for each other. They like to party a lot, but they care about each other. Okay? Yeah, they're still criminals, and the crime is still terrible, and things are still horrible, but people have a certain degree of decency with them. No matter what sort of persuasion or belief they have, no matter what political entity they are going for, they're free to still talk about what they think and how they feel about things. Some of the people are very passionate about it, and they say all kinds of crazy things, but at the end of the day, they don't do anything. They don't act on it. They don't kill other people because of it. I saw in the United States of America a guy stab up two guys, stopping him from accosting two Muslim people. I'm not saying that there aren't extremists, but usually these people are not Muslims, okay? The extremist people who go and stab people and say, Jesus Christ told me to get rid of these people, they're extremists. They're not Christians. Okay? Because you cannot be a Muslim, you cannot be a Christian and harbor hate in your heart for another human being and be so destructive. Look how they destroyed the monument in Mosul. They destroyed it. For what reason? What reason? It's a historic Islamic mosque. You'll destroy your own historic landmark that has history of Islam. You're not Muslim. You're not Muslim. You're a hooligan. You're not Christian. If you're talking about Jesus Christ and the cross, but you're ethnically purging other people, Jesus said to love your brother, to be your brother's keeper. So what is that? That's Cain, man. There's no love in those people's hearts. You're going to go to innocent people in a concert and detonate yourself as a bomb to kill other people? That's hate in your heart, man. And I could identify with some people whose homes have been ruined by pain. If they were people like, I'm not talking about these Islamist people, because they just came together because of hate. They came because for demonic means. I'm talking about people who, like the Palestinians, some of them, they grew up in disaster and tragedy and everything in ruins. I can understand when somebody, they lost all heart and everything, their heart get cold and they just want to kill people. I can get that. But I can't get where you have a group of people, yes, your life been miserable, yes, you've been in crime or whatever, and you just have non-stop hate for all of humanity. I mean, I remember once upon a time when I was in my teens, because I was so isolated from everybody else, because I thought other people didn't understand me. Now, let me tell you, back in my day, being a nerd was not a cool thing, okay? Today, everybody wants to be a nerd. Oh, I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd now. Yeah, it's the fad now, but back then it wasn't. I remember having hate because I wasn't understood. I could understand it. I hated people. Man, sometimes I just wanted to kill people, right? I wanted to go ballistic. I can understand that. So I can understand why some people would hate and actually just want to destroy because they're not understood. I get it. All right? They don't seem to fit in and everything about them is always negative. I get it. But still, to form an organization of hate to annihilate people? Are you serious? Really? What does hate ever accomplish? What does hate ever accomplish? Does hate ever build anything? They build things to destroy things. Think about it, folks. I'm just saying, man. So, I had to say all of this before I get into Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman is a breath of fresh air. Wonder Woman doesn't fight anyone. That is the movie. It is about embracing everyone or humanity, embracing the good and bad of us, and saying, here's the better way. Love. That's why Wonder Woman is doing so good at the box office. From what I last heard, even though Box Office Mojo hasn't tracked it yet, today it's crossed $600 million at the box office. So it's doing absolutely well. You know what I'm saying? And the reason this movie is so successful, it's probably going to be the most successful DCEU movie. It might even pass Batman v Superman. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I would love it to do that, right? Every consecutive movie do better, but it seems as though it's going to surpass Man of Steel. I don't know. We'll see. I believe so. But at the end of the day, this movie is going to change lives because the next generation is going to see this movie. And then the sexism against women is going to erode a little bit more. But what's nice about this movie is it's not saying we want women to rule the world and keep men under their feet. That's not what it's saying at all. And that's awesome because this movie is as positive as it can get. You can go beyond women. You can go to the everyday average Joe in the United States of America or around the world. The average person who can do more. And to do more doesn't take much. Here's what I would like to challenge each and every one of you to do from this day forward. Always look out someone who seems not to be perfectly fine. And even if they are, let them know that this is an awesome day. Every day is an opportunity to make someone else's life brighter. That's why I do these videos, y'all. I do these videos for you. I do it for you. I can't be doing it for myself, but of course I talk plenty. So I said, you know what? If I'm talking so much, I might as well get paid for it or let other people hear what I have to say. So that's why I do these videos. And this might be a long ramble and a long rant, but when you get to the bottom line of what I'm saying, I think you feel the same way. If you've been listening to my videos, then you have something very much in common with me. Maybe not politically. Maybe you see things differently when it comes to how the world is going. But in your heart, you harmonize with me on wanting things to be better, not just for yourself. You're not a selfish person. Whoever's listening to this video, you're not selfish. You may not believe in what I believe as in terms of God and Jesus and stuff like that, but I know in your heart you harmonize with me because not only do I talk things good about the DCEU, but you find that there's some level of sincerity in what I'm saying, and you harmonize with that. That's why you even watched this video to this point. If you have watched this video to this point, there got to be more to what is happening with me. Something about what your walk of life and my walk of life has to do with. There's a commonality there, and you resonate with that. Okay? So now we're going to get into Wonder Woman. So I'm going to show you a couple of things where Wonder Woman is very similar to Man of Steel. First of all, I don't know if you guys picked this up, because I always pick up all kinds of strange things. The first thing I noticed was Wonder Woman don't ever say its title till the movie's ended. And then Patty Jenkins, she gives the title of the film way down to the end. She says Wonder Woman. She gives credit to all the producers and the directors and the screenwriters and so on. And then she gives Wonder Woman. And while this is all going on, she's actually retelling the story of Wonder Woman in these pictorial descriptions. Have you noticed that? It's really, really awesome. Now, Wonder Woman's not the first film to do this. This has been done many, many times in filmmaking and even in comic book movies. And you'll find that Man of Steel did this. So, Man of Steel never put the title of the movie until the final credits. At the end of the movie, it said Man of Steel. Alright? And in addition, it then gave credit to all the people. So the movies, they usually begin with the logos, but that's it. They really don't do nothing else. You just get straight into the story. And you assume, because you're watching at all the characters and everything, that the story is Man of Steel, for instance, if it's Man of Steel, or Wonder Woman, if it's Wonder Woman. Now, this is not exclusive to the DCEU or even DC films. We have some Marvel films that do that, and you can go ahead and check out, and you can go ahead and go through a number of other films besides the MCU Marvel. Maybe even X-Men might have done it, right? But I don't have that. First one I want to point out is Captain America: The First Avenger. Captain America is kind of like an analog to Superman and Wonder Woman, okay? The character was made the same year, just a little bit before Wonder Woman came into being. So, Captain America: The First Avenger, which survived through that era of superheroes, is actually sort of like a mix between Superman and Wonder Woman. Captain America actually came as a propaganda campaign to get soldiers to go to war and also people to get involved in the war. So, like Wonder Woman, they were kind of propaganda campaigns, but Wonder Woman was a little bit different in that she had a different spin to her origins. But yes, if you go and watch Captain America: The First Avenger, you will not see the title of the movie in the opening credits or the opening of the film. You will see it later on at the end of the film. Isn't that crazy? It's pretty cool. It's actually the last thing I think you see on the screen. Also, Ant-Man, which came out, I can't remember, was it last year or the year before? I think it was 2015 or 2014. I can't remember. Ant-Man is another movie. They never gave the title of the movie in the opening credits. It's at the end of the movie you actually see the title of the movie. Now, this is not the first time. I think back in 1977 when Star Wars came out, George Lucas, he ended up putting all his credits and everything, even though he put the title in the beginning, Star Wars. He put the credits at the end of the movie, and he was actually fined for that by the body that does the ratings and everything. Isn't that crazy? And he paid the fine, and he sort of set the trend for having credits at the end of a movie instead of at the beginning. Some movies have no credits whatsoever, so it's just it's pretty crazy. But I thought it was very interesting. You know why I think this is very interesting? This is interesting because people assume they're watching a film of Ant-Man, but the movie doesn't tell you that till the very end. And the point is, usually Ant-Man, Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, they become the character at the end of the movie or somewhere in the middle of the movie. They become the character. So instead of saying the character, you're going to watch the movie on this character, since you're going to begin the movie and they're not the superhero that they're to become, they usually sometimes give the credits at the end. Isn't that interesting? So we have Batman Begins. Batman Begins, again, didn't have any title at the beginning, but they did show the symbol of the bat in the beginning. So Christopher Nolan hinted you that this is going to be a Batman movie, but he never once told you it was Batman. Isn't that crazy? Or Batman Begins, which is pretty cool. The next one is Thor. Thor actually didn't give you any opening credits, never let you know this movie was about Thor. And you can find several others. If you guys want to, you can go ahead and list some of them in the comment section below. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? Now I want to talk a little bit more about the commonalities between Wonder Woman and Man of Steel for a minute. Like I said, both movies had sacrifice. Okay? Clark Kent's father, I forgot what his name is, if you guys remember. Jonathan Kent, I think it's Jonathan Kent. Jonathan Kent, he sacrificed his life. He told Clark, do not save me. Okay? Do not save me. Because he was really invested in ensuring that his son's identity was kept a secret for as long as possible until he was ready to face the world. And in his recap to Lois Lane, he told the story. Now, a lot of people didn't like certain aspects of that sacrifice, and they thought it was controversial. This is why some people said that, oh, this is not my Superman story, because certain people died, and Zack Snyder's good at doing that. He's good at, as I said before, a Zack Snyder film will challenge you. It will challenge you. Because Zack is a deep thinker. And so a lot of people who protested, oh, Jonathan Kent, he shouldn't have died, and he died in vain, and it was a stupid death. Superman could have saved him and just dash across, get him, and then come back. Yes, but in his so doing, he would have revealed himself to the people around him, and then he would have had problems. Because as we learned, people hate what they don't understand, and a lot of people would have been afraid of him because of the powers he had. And we saw that when he rescued the kids in the bus. Now, the interesting thing about Smallville, though, is they kind of kept it suppressed as a secret because they never really overtly saw Clark Kent clearly help someone. There was always this kind of doubt in their mind if it's true or not. And what I liked about it, too, was that it kind of came off of the Smallville series. That was the last Superman series that they had. And Smallville, strange things used to happen in there, and people kind of started to not question too many things. So I don't know if they'll go back and look at Smallville. I mean, they did explore Smallville on TV. I know they're going forward with the Krypton project, which I'm looking forward to just to see what they're really going to do with Krypton. Especially David Goyer doing this. Because I really like David Goyer's writing. But the point anyway is that Jonathan Kent sacrificed his life to save Clark, to protect him. Okay? And it leads to the question, how far does a hero go to help other people? It reminds me of the situation in the Bible where Jesus allowed Lazarus to die. Yeah, he came back and he resurrected him. But the point is, he allowed him to die. And I remember Martha particularly saying to Jesus, if you had only come sooner, he would not have died. And Jesus groaned on that. And my point being, just the same way how people reacted here, oh, he didn't have to die. You know, Superman could have saved him. Yeah, he could have saved him. He could have. But Jonathan Kent was willing and ready to sacrifice himself so that his son would be protected. Pretty much like how Hippolyta was trying to conceal her daughter's true identity from her to protect her. Again, another controversial thing, but the difference is that Patty Jenkins was able to handle it in a different kind of way where people never reflected on that and be like, but Hippolyta was pretty selfish. But that's a selfish act to do for a parent to try and protect their child. Nobody really reflected on that like that way. See, I can go into Batman Begins as well and show some really stupid things that happened there. Like Bruce Wayne went into this concentration camp where these people were captured, and then they just release him from the concentration camp? That makes no sense. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, there are all kinds of things going on in movies which don't always make sense if you really rethink them too many times. So if you overthink something, you start to nitpick a movie. But I don't do that. I don't care about that. I look at the story of a movie, where it's actually going, because I understand a movie has to be told within a limited space of time. Everything cannot be hyper realistic, okay? And so those people who nitpick, usually they're being unreasonable. Nonetheless, my point is, there was sacrifice in Man of Steel, and there was sacrifice in Wonder Woman. We saw Antiope jump in front of Diana to take the bullet for Diana, sacrificing her life because she believed Diana was so much more than just an Amazon. She knew that Diana had powers to unlock, and she kept on pushing Diana because she knew Diana had something extra. So when Diana actually unleashed some of her powers, it wasn't the bracelets that did that. It was the powers in Diana that was expressed outward. She released the powers from the bracelets, and basically Antiope was trying to push Diana to finally release these powers because she knew that Diana was that weapon. So when it finally happened, she was calling to Diana, Diana, Diana. And she was trying to get up. Of course, she was badly injured. She's trying to get up to tell Diana, it's okay. You know, I'm glad you're releasing it. Keep on. Do more of that. Right? And Hippolyta, she was scared. And when Hippolyta said, oh my God. What Hippolyta was basically worried about was that Diana was now becoming what she supposed to be. And that would just make Ares find her even faster. So Hippolyta was like, what have I done? You know? And true to form, you know, fate just had it that Steve Trevor landed there. So the other sacrifice that happened in the movie, in Wonder Woman, was Steve Trevor's sacrifice. Again, Antiope believed that Diana was the key to actually saving the Amazons. Antiope believed a lot more than was led on in the film. How am I able to gather this? And this is not my opinion. This is based on Antiope's words. She said to Diana, you have more in you to release, but you doubt yourself. You're holding back. There are powers within you. She said that. You have certain powers within you to unlock. And then Hippolyta comes down. She says X, Y, and Z, you know, and interrupts the whole thing. Then Antiope talks about the god killer and that Diana needs to leave Themyscira. So Antiope knows more than she's letting on to know in the story. And remember, as I said to you guys, it wasn't just Hippolyta telling her the story of Ares. You see when Diana goes near to Antiope and is trading with her, you hear Antiope's voice narrating. There's a difference between Antiope's voice and Hippolyta's voice, and you hear Antiope saying that, you know, that her mother, Hippolyta, was the one that led the resistance to fighting against Ares, okay, and mankind. So you have to understand, Antiope knows the story, Hippolyta knows the story, I think all the Amazons know the story. Hippolyta was like, we cannot let her know who she really is. That's what Hippolyta told Antiope. So Antiope knows the weapon was Diana. And she was trying to tell Diana she needs to leave Themyscira and go with Steve into the real world to really master her powers and therefore be able to face Ares, which inevitably Diana does. So if you really pay attention to the, as I was saying before, if you look at the IMAX poster, you'll see that Diana listens a lot to Antiope. A lot to Antiope. Okay? In fact, Diana takes on Antiope's title of the greatest Amazon warrior ever, wearing Antiope's tiara on her head with the star. Okay? So Diana takes on the role of having now not just to defend the Amazons, but to defend all of Earth. Her role is to defend Earth. She is the first defense of Earth. She is the most trained, highest trained Amazon warrior on Themyscira, and she has been sent out from Themyscira, kind of like Jesus was sent out from heaven. She's sent out on a mission to defend the Earth and protect the Earth from threats. That's her role. She said it's our sacred duty to defend mankind. So when she left her mother, who was grieving tremendously, which was a tremendous sacrifice on her mother's part to just let her go, but she knew she had to go, so it was what it was. You could see her mother grieving immensely. You could feel the torn nature, and you could feel Diana looking back at her mother, but yet looking to head to the future, because she has a mission, she has a purpose. Now with Man of Steel, we saw his father sacrifice his life, put his life on the line, and you saw young Clark Kent obey his father's wishes because he believed that his purpose had not fully come to fruition. So the reverse of Diana went on with her mission. Clark, on the other hand, he held back from his mission till he had the full pieces of the puzzle. With Clark, he had to find out who he was, his Kryptonian family. He then found out from his father what the mission he had. Later on in BVS, we learn that Clark realizes that was his father's purpose for him, but he had to find his own purpose for himself. And he goes on to re-establish his purpose, which is his father's mission for him anyway, but he does it now willingly out of his own heart. So Clark ends up sacrificing himself at the end of BVS, the ultimate sacrifice for what he believes in. So BVS is an extension of Man of Steel, and that's quite a complete arc of Superman. And basically Superman ends up ultimately sacrificing his life for what he believes in. Those are the two sacrifices. With the case of Wonder Woman, the two sacrifices end up happening in the same film, where you have Antiope and then you have Steve Trevor sacrificing their life for what they believe in. So the emphasis that Wonder Woman puts on is not whether people deserve your kindness or your love. If you believe in love and you believe in kindness, you believe in consideration, then it's important for you to walk in that belief. And if it costs you your life, so be it. Which comes back to the scripture I was reading about, which talked about, what does it matter if a man gains the entire world? The entire world is under my feet, but I've lost myself, my purpose, why I'm here. If everything is there to serve me, then what good is it? And so that is powerful, because that's what these stories actually tell. All of these people, all of these heroes, it costs them things to help other people, to serve other people. You see what I'm saying? Now, you don't get those kinds of stories necessarily in the other movies that you've seen, except for Logan. Logan had cost him his life to protect his daughter. He didn't know it was his daughter until later on, right? But you can understand that there's always cost in what you believe. In reality, every person, if you believe something, it will cost you something. You will have to sacrifice something to go further in what you believe. Now, not all comic book movies do this, Not all comic book movies show there's a price and there's a cost and there's a sacrifice, but in the real world, that's how it works. All right. Now, there's a ton of other similarities between Man of Steel and Wonder Woman, but I don't want to spend any more time on this because time is limited for all of us and I have to go to work. But I just wanted to share that aspect with you guys. And also, whether you agree or disagree with me in terms of politics or religion, whatever you may deal with, I want to just let you know that at the end of the day, always look to help someone next to you. Always try to be loving and caring and kind. You never know who you are a hero towards. There are some fake heroes out here, and then there are some real ones. There are people who tell you what you want to hear, but they'll never do it. And they just leave you on a string. And then there are other people, they don't talk. They just do it. And then afterwards, whether you like them or not, they did what they needed to do. So you have the two different kinds of people. There are people who say, I'll never do this, and then they go back and they do it, and that's a good thing. And then you have people who say, we will never do this, and they go and do it, but the thing that they never said they were going to do was actually a bad thing, and they end up going and do the bad thing. So you have the two sides of the coin. So always remember, it's not what people say. Always watch it what they do. That's what they say, judge someone by their fruits and not by what they speak. Because a lot of people can talk good stuff that you want to hear, but then they never do it. They do the opposite. They trick you. Alright? So don't be that kind of person. Always be real. If you say something that is positive, do it. If you know that you can't fulfill it, then don't say it. And just let your actions do the talking. That way you're not committed to anything. And then for those people who say, I'm not committed to anything, those are not good people to go follow after. You want people who are actually doers, who have a track record of doing good things that can actually help you. Alright? And don't try to just get people to help you. Try in life to help other people. Governments and institutions, they don't live for you. Yes, they're supposed to govern and they're supposed to help. But if they're not governing and they're not helping, you powerless? No, you're not. You have all the power in you. You are like Wonder Woman. You are like Superman. You are like all of these superheroes. You have unlimited potential in you. You just have to believe in yourself and believe that you can do these things. So, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Governments come and go. It don't change nothing. We're still here. You, me, all of us. So we just have to get off our butts and do something. And work hard. And we can. And we will. We have to. You guys have a great one.